Welcome to VideoGaming Father's video review of a cute side-scrolling action platformer with a cat in the main role called the Purring Quest. Is there any funny or on the contrary touching story that could make you cry? Is it just a standard action platformer or other untraditional main hero's abilities used properly to enhance the gameplay? Will you be facing original enemies in a variable environment? Doesn't the game difficulty make it unplayable for kids and casual players? Does the game provide precise and responsive controls? Are there any skill upgrades or other RPG elements? Can the game graphics, music and sounds please your senses? And can one find any form of local multiplayer in the game, making it fully prepared for family playing? Just bear with me for the next few minutes to get the essential information about the Purring Quest. Let's talk about the story bit. It is presented by the short intro with atmospheric piano music, by the way, presented by the series of pictures where you can see a young couple that accidentally meet each other, find love, get married, start living together, love each other, get a cute little cat and live happily ever after. No, let's stop here. The last one would be true if man's beloved wife wouldn't die young. After that we can see a very sad man getting old sitting in his flat with his cat. One day he visits the cemetery where his wife rests in peace, but suddenly he gets the feeling that the woman looking exactly like his beloved wife passed him behind his back. He forgets about everything and starts following this mysterious person. And forgets his beloved cat tied on a leash in the cemetery. And here starts the main hero's epic journey to find his human friend, meet the other cats and maybe to get some unlucky cage guests free as well. The story plays on your emotions but doesn't push too hard, and you can also find a sense of humor there. It is mainly developed by the dialogues with the other cats, where each of them has its own personality and the dialogues with them are rather funny than depressing. So I would say that the story gives you sufficient motivation to discover whether it all ends up with a happy ending or not, and the authors have done a good job here. Now let's take a look at the gameplay. The game starts almost like any other modern action platformer, where you are explained the basic moves. What is less traditional is that before the start of the game you can choose between the high jump and double jump. For the first option you need to press the other button while jumping, while the second option means to press the jump button again while being in the air. I would highly recommend choosing the second option, and I will explain a bit later why. So, in the first tutorial part you will learn how to move, jump and jump higher by jumping over the holes or onto the tombs to get further. You also meet the first enemies. Big rats that can hurt you. A little bit weird considering that you are the cat, that they should rather be scared of, but okay. You will also learn how to climb the creepers to get the higher places and to hide behind the items to pass the watchdogs unattended. If they spot you and get close enough to you, they start barking at you and you need to start over from the last checkpoint. Yes, there are the checkpoints in the game, so you almost never need to repeat the long game sequences if you die or being spotted. You also collect the fish bones. There are 200 of them in each level and some of them are placed in hard to get places, so if you want to be perfect and collect all of them, you will need to properly test your skills and also your fingers. However, there is not any big motivation for doing that if you are not an achievement hunter. So in each level you just run, jump, climb, hide, fight, or avoid the enemies and collect fish bones. Is that it? Or are there some other activities you can do yet? Each level ends with some boss battle or challenge. In the first one you fight against the giant flying raven, or whatever it is, that you need to slash with your claws at the right moment. Once you manage to do it several times, the boss is eliminated. The second one is more inventive. You fight against the giant moles that you cannot hit directly, but you need to use cones falling from the trees to shoot down the big acorns so they will fall down on the head of the mole. Again, You need to do it several times while jumping between the prickly bushes and avoiding the moles. quite a challenging fight. Not every level is finished by the boss battle. There is a challenge in the end of third level where you need to climb up the high tower while avoiding falling birds' excrement, no joking here, the flying birds, rats, and also quickly jumping between the collapsing platforms. And there are 2 more levels that I have not seen yet. The boss battles and challenges are quite inventive, I would say, and enrich the gameplay. Unluckily, there is not much else to do. In each level you can try to find a photo of a cat that you have talked to, or set one cage cat free, which makes you look for hidden places. But again, there is no big motivation to do it except the achievements. There are neither RPG elements nor skill upgrades enhancing the gameplay. As you progress through the game, you just learn how to push or pull boxes to use them for getting to some normally inaccessible spot, or you will meet a famous Schrödinger cat that will teach you how to hide yourself in the box to let your enemies pass you by unattended. Refreshing, yes. Sufficient? Not really, as there are only a few places where you can use these skills. So, compared to modern standards, the gameplay is rather shallow, I would say. What kind of enemies and in which environments are waiting for you? As being said, you start at the Night Cemetery with a lot of graveyards, halls, tombs and statues where you face rats and Dobermans that you need to hide from. Then comes the colorful village with houses and the roofs, balconies, trees to climb, jumping frogs, moles and small chihuahuas that you again need to pass undiscovered. Third level is situated in the Gothic Quarter with higher houses and their facades that you need to use to get further, and walking or flying pigeons that use their excrement as their weapons. Sounds a little bit disgusting, doesn't it? And bulldogs as your enemies. There are supposed to be the city and skyscrapers that I have not seen yet. I would say that the environments are variable enough for a rather short game, and each of them has its own unique style. It is also thanks to the beautiful hand-drawn graphics, but I am going to get this a bit later. The environment is a little bit sterile though. There are no other living creatures except a few enemies and one NPC in each level. And the variety of enemies is also not something that this game could be proud of. Just 2 new types of enemies in each level and not very original. Okay, maybe except for pooping pigeons. How about level design, game difficulty and controls? The level design is not bad and uses enough elements in each level to test your cat skills. There is a lot of jumping, climbing, avoiding falling objects, etc. If you want to collect all 200 fish bones in each level, you really need to use your hero skills properly. As for the game difficulty, the Purring Quest can be challenging in some parts, but definitely not frustrating thanks to short levels, checkpoints and low number of enemies. Your hero has 7 lives, why is it not 9 as cats usually have, and when you die, you start at the nearest checkpoint. The mechanics of counting lives is quite strange though. If you are touched by the enemy or hit by some object, you just lose 1 life and start from the checkpoint only if you lose all your lives. However, if you encounter the dog or fall from a big height, which in reality is not so little for the cats, is it? You lose 1 life but need to start from the checkpoint with the remaining count of lives. The bosses are also not too strong, and in most of the situations you have enough time to take the appropriate action. The controls, on the other hand, might often spoil your intention. Especially jumping can be a nightmare sometimes. As I said before, I would not recommend choosing the high jump where you need to press another button while jumping. I have played this game on the Xbox controller and I was really suffering with this type of jumping. The double jump where you need to press the jump again while being in the air is a little bit better but still inconsistent. Sometimes the game lets you jump higher and get to the normally inaccessible place, while sometimes you can be trying hard and still won't be able to jump onto the desired spot. So I must say that the inconsistent character of control spoils the game experience a bit. Can the game audio visuals improve the impression of the game? And the answer here is positive. Hand-drawn graphics are beautiful, smooth, detailed with blurring objects on both foreground and background. I would even dare to call the game graphics artistic. Well done! And same for the music. Beautiful melancholic piano tones along with string instruments help to create a deep atmosphere. Music also reacts to current events on the screen, so it's more relaxing during the level while it becomes more serious and dynamic during boss battles and challenges. There are not so many sounds in the game, but the ones that are there, like mewing, dog barking, or flowing water, are quite authentic, I would say. In general, I was pleasantly surprised by the game audio visuals. So, is the Purring Quest the game that should be played by all cat and platforming lovers, or should I better look somewhere else not to get upset? Let's start with the positive sides of the game. Touching story with sense of humor, relaxing gameplay most of the time, cat main hero, level design properly using the cat skills, variable environments, reasonable difficulty, beautiful hand-drawn graphics, and nice orchestral music. The game has also its downsides. Quite sterile environments without life, low variety of enemies, no RPG elements, weird controller's reactions on double jump, and only 5 relatively short levels. The game is very suitable for family playing as it's cute, not too difficult, and has rather short levels along with checkpoints. It's a pity that there is no local multiplayer that would make it ideal for playing with kids and other family members. The Purring Quest costs €10 on Steam, which is quite much for a relatively short and simple game, so this time I would recommend waiting for more than 50% discount. The Purring Quest is a nice looking game with relaxing gameplay and interesting story that is just missing more responsive controls, some elements that would enhance the traditional gameplay and local multiplayer. Like this, it's still a good game that many cat lovers and casual gamers, including me, might enjoy, and thus I'm giving the Purring Quest thumbs up and VideoGaming Father's index 7 out of 10. Recommended with a bigger discount. Thank you for watching my video review, and if you have enjoyed the time spent by watching, please give it a thumb up and also subscribe to my VideoGaming Father's channel for more video reviews. Hope to see you soon!